Hello, Awesome Soul here, back with some more Robocraft news. And this time, we have something actually pretty unique, kind of came out of the blue almost. And that is the campaign mode. Yes, Robocraft is getting a much more fleshed out and interesting single-player experience. Now, going through this and actually reading it for myself, I was actually pleasantly surprised. Dare I say, very intrigued, until I realized that this, at least at present, is single player only. They do state later on that if there is enough interest, this will become a co-op experience. But my idea for this kind of thing, well, I probably should state, this is sort of a wave-based sort of campaign mode thing. I don't really know what to call it, but I don't think campaign mode is the best way. It's not a bad title, but it's definitely more of a wave-based kind of co-op with your buddies type thing, except there's only single player, at least to start. Hopefully they do add it. And Free Jam, if you are listening, I would highly recommend you fast track the whole co-op aspect of it. Because for me, I've played a lot of these wave-based kind of co-op modes, and you know, they're a whole lot more fun if you actually have people running beside you. You can kind of go in, sort of have a plan, and that's a whole lot more fun than just kind of going in and fighting, oh, this wave, and that wave, and this wave. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be very challenging, but if you can coordinate with your friends to actually take out the big bad Megabot at the end, that will be very interesting. Now, I kind of set this up a little oddly. I know I've given my thoughts without really describing it, but I'm sure a decent amount of you have read this already, but if you haven't, the link should be in the description or on their website. So, jumping in, they've kind of prototyped a single-player campaign. So, this, what it's going to be, is, again, another prototype, kind of similar to how they did the whole Robocraft Royale type thing. That was sort of a prototype that they kind of played around with before they went full on with it, and this is kind of a similar situation, though this is actually being implemented directly into base Robocraft, and not actually its own separate thing. So, their little breakdown here says that you have 5 lives, though that will change depending on what challenge rating you're doing. You start the campaign with a wave of enemy spawns. There are anything from 1 to 20 robots per wave, though it doesn't really say whether or not they spawn at different times. I know in other games, or I guess game modes, that are similar to this, even within a wave, not everything spawns all at once. Like, you'll have a couple enemies run out from the right door. You end up killing them, and then you have another set of enemies running out of the left door. But that's still counted as one wave. Like a staggered spawn type thing. I'm hoping that's what they do, because facing 20 robots all at once, and they all spawn and just sort of horde around you and circle you and kill you, especially if you're only one person, that's going to be real tricky. Even if they are really tiny robots, it's still going to be quite difficult. Anyways, continuing on, all robots in the wave are the same design, and we built them for our testing purposes. Again, they're talking about the initial idea they have, because later on in the article, they do state that they will eventually get to the point where you can have multiple robots in each match. So maybe you could have some enemy healers in the mix. Though I don't think the current AI knows how to use nanobots, but we'll see. Maybe that's something they can improve on, and hopefully they do, because that would be really cool, especially in a boss fight. If you have the hardest difficulty with a gigantic lumbering behemoth of a Megabot, and you've got nothing but really powerful healers on your team, super tanky, they basically just stay near the Megabot, and they can heal themselves, or they can heal the Megabot. That would be possibly the most difficult challenge of all. Maybe a little bit too difficult, or maybe not. We'll see. Yes, I know, I got sidetracked again. Continuing on with their little description here, the AI basically controls like the way the regular AI does currently. That'll probably be improved in the future, but for now, that's how it's going to act. Or at least once it's in the game. I think it should be about a week or so, at least that's what they kind of are aiming for. And as you imagine, once you kill all of the enemies in a wave, a new enemy wave will spawn with different robots. After you kill all 4 waves, the 5th wave will be a Megabot. And like I said earlier, there are different challenge ratings. So, bronze, silver, gold, diamond, and protonium. Unlike League ranks, though, you don't actually have to unlock any of them. If you wanted to, you could jump straight to a protonium challenge and do that. But if you do so, know that the challenge is going to be a lot harder, and you only have 1 life. Whereas in diamond, you get 2 lives, gold, you get 3, and so on and so forth. And also, on top of that, you get different health boosts and damage boosts per challenge rating. Yes, you heard me right. So, bronze level is the current balance of Robocraft, whereas Protonium is supercharged. So you're going to definitely have to take it slow, take your time, and play strategically if you want to win. There's also going to be restrictions, sort of like how Brawl works. So each individual campaign will restrict you from using certain parts or force you to use certain parts. As an example, maybe in this campaign you can only build up to 750 CPU, whereas in another one, maybe you can only build using thrusters and lasers and no other parts. I mean, besides cubes, of course. So yeah, all of those factors, even with the kind of basic AI that they have right now, that's still going to be very, very challenging. It's going to be interesting to see a 750 CPU bot try to take out a megabot. Now, as you would expect for something so challenging, yes, indeed, you will actually get experience and robits at the end. This is most likely dictated by the challenge rating, and maybe some other factors, because, you know, there would be different robots per wave, so the amount of damage you dish out, maybe that would help, or maybe it wouldn't, I don't know. And finally, to give an example of the balance they're trying to go for, beating bronze should be easy if you've played a lot of Robocraft, but for their Protonium, they want it to be challenging even for players who've played for a very long time, so veterans should have a difficult challenge there. Initially, they do state that it's going to be fairly bare bones, as they are just testing things out, but eventually they do want to flesh it out by adding a survival mode and timed elimination. So what that sounds like to me is basically like a unlimited waves type of thing. You just have to keep going and see how well you do. Along the same line, they continue with, they want to add support for multiple robots in a single wave, and not only that, they want to make it so the AI will be able to use more weapons than just one. Whether or not we'll ever see flying robots? Probably not, but hey, we'll see. And finally, to close it out, user-generated campaigns. Yes, that's right. If there is enough support for this idea, they will eventually get around to making it so that you, yes you, the person watching this video, can actually make their own custom campaign with their rules, their flavor text and all that stuff, and of course the robots that actually appear in it. So that right there, to me, who loves building and designing and sort of writing stories and all that sort of stuff, very interesting and very, very cool. I will be quite interested to see, well, I guess if it ever gets to this point, what we can do with it. And closing out their article here, they want to make sure that everyone knows that if they really like campaigns, obviously that means that if people actually play them, then they will add support for more of the functionality we discussed here today. And the most important one being co-op campaigns. Though this does have me a little concerned, because I don't know about you guys, but at least to me, the two biggest and most exciting things about this whole campaign system is the co-op aspect of it and the user-generated content aspect of it, both of which are not coming until there actually is any support for this idea, i.e. people constantly playing it, and you know, all that data shows up on their servers and they're like, hey, people are using this game mode a lot, let's add to it. For example, one of the reasons why we no longer have a dedicated pit, lobby slash queue, or whatever you want to call it, well, that's simply because not enough people actually played that. So they removed it. Occasionally it shows up in the whole brawl thing, but not too often. But I guess we can at least use it in custom games. Anyway, back on track. The point I'm trying to make, if Free Jam is out there listening to this point in the video, I know it's kind of near the end, but what I would make sure you take into account is that people out there like me, I'm sure I'm not the only one, are more interested in the stuff to come than the very basic bare bones version of it. I do like the idea quite a bit, but really only if you actually implement the stuff discussed here. What I mean is the potential for this is really awesome, but the basic version is... it's alright, I guess. But that is simply my opinion. What is yours? Let me know in the comment section down below. I, of course, have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you all so very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.